Joining us on the program now is CEO Jeff Parker with VMS. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning to you.
How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was quiet, but over the Thursday and Friday, I had some relatives down that stopped by from Seattle, so that was kind of fun to have them down real briefly.
A little humid for them, but...
Yeah, they were, although they liked the interesting thing is they'd had some hot weather just like we'd had up in Seattle, so they were saying it wasn't that bad, and I'm like, okay, that's good for that.
Yeah, if they can deal with it, that's not too bad. We actually had some good numbers here in the last couple of days.
Yeah, it's nice to see some change. So over the weekend we had just 153 cases reported, so that's real good. And last week on Friday we reported there was 372 cases, so that shows you a pretty good drop in the number of cases. As the board shows is that our positivity rate is now down to 5.4.
Right.
And if you can recall, it was just at the beginning of the month we were at 9% and above. So that's really, really a good number. And the 5% is really what they want to see steady for a long period of time, and that really shows that the transmission rate is that 1-to-1 or less.
Right.
So that's really good news. The 90%, the 90.2 is under that 100,000 on that threshold, so that's good. And as you can see, the big red number over there, they came off of the monitoring list from the county one day.
One day.
That's going to allow school districts and businesses to start to reevaluate whether they can open some of their activities.
Sure.
They'll have to go back through the state and get still signed off on that.
Okay.
But not being on the list allows you to at least move forward in that direction.
Right.
So
and is there a certain period of time, I believe, that they need to be on this monitoring list of almost 15 days or something like that?
Right. They need to be off. I know that in the case of San Diego County came off the list, Orange County came off the list, and I think one other. There's still more than 40 some counties that are on the state list, which means they can't move forward with any activity. So now it's a staging plan.
Sure. Well, my kids are in middle school now. They just started last week. So what they're doing is going to virtual school today, and they'll do a full day sitting there as if they're in the classroom. But tomorrow will be their study day, and that's when and it's only been a week, but they've actually worked out pretty well because they're in the classroom one day, and then they're actually getting their homework done the following day, and then they start all over again. So far, so far so good. Right.
That's actually good to probably have a mix like that if they can do that.
I think it's helped them a lot. You know, it's obviously been a stressful time for everybody, but you know, homework, doing things around the house and all that stuff, and then school all day, it was always kind of stressful to, you know, eat dinner, get your homework done, or else you get your homework done so you eat dinner, those kind of things. But now it gives them that day to get their homework done.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
That's
so it's
really
nice
good.
that the school obviously is adapting as well. And hopefully that number changes.
It's going to reflect that. I think the other thing to mention is our ICU bed percentage is 29. We're still up in, you know, probably an area we'd like to see reduced, although they are down a little bit. So I think that's the other place that we want to concentrate. So in Laguna Woods itself, we're at 50 cases, so we did go up a couple of cases since last week. And we have, again, same number of deaths, unfortunately, at 5 for the city of Laguna Woods, which we're obviously a big part of it. So giving that percentage, we're at 10% of those that have gotten the cases have unfortunately passed away within the city of Laguna Woods. Something that we want to watch too.
Sure. But interesting too that, you know, if you look at the surrounding populations, and too, if you look at the numbers and go off of 18,500 people, you know, our numbers are dramatically lower than most cities. They've done a great job out there.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. In fact, I was looking at the death rates in some of the other cities that have the same populations, and they have a lot more deaths than we do too. So that's really, again, back to our residents really following the rules and staying at home and wearing their mask and social distancing when they've gone out. They've done a great job.
Right. And this chart really shows us too that bell curve, and actually the curve that you're looking for. We're looking to bend the curve, right, and really bring it down, and we're heading in the right direction.
It's really nice to see that blue curve really going down. That's a great trajectory. And the one that we want to see kind of going down, it'd be nice if it was going down the same level, is that 111 in the ICU. We'd really like to get that under 100 because that really shows that you got capacity, and it means that people aren't as sick. Because there's a lot more medicines out there that, you know, that pre-ICU stage that I know that they're providing for people that are getting COVID-19. And the more people you can keep out of ICU, the less risk there is of it being ultimately a death, which is a positive thing.
Wow. Well, like you said, the community's doing a great job. You know, there was a little bit of an uproar regarding masks, but I think just like everyone else, we've adapted, and it's somewhat the new normal.
Yep.
And I'm sure people will be wearing masks probably for many years to come.
Oh, I think it's going to be quite a while, definitely.
Absolutely.
And I think I was watching a broadcast from Dr. Fauci was on, and he was talking about the positive words about the vaccines, that there are 6 major ones that are being worked on, and his anticipation that we would see the vaccine by the beginning of the year, and then rolling that out over a time period so that it becomes effective, and making sure it's effective. That's really great to hear. I mean, because that means that 2021 will be a year of real transition, so hopefully we can get back into our operations. As we mentioned at the GRF budget meeting, we don't anticipate being fully operational until at minimum March, and probably a little later than that, but we're putting in the budget that we would be back full operation by March, and hopefully we can do that. It's all going to be about when the vaccine gets out.
Exactly, and the springtime of next year, like you said, is going to be so important. You know, right now we're seeing some really good positive news, but then now we have Labor Day coming up here in a week or two. And then flu season is going to start sometime in October, the holidays, and then hopefully January, February, we all start to, get better, and the vaccine hopefully will be available to most of us.
It's going to be the critical part of that.
And it's going to be a big time for us.
Absolutely.
What else do you have for us today?
I got 3 other things I wanted to mention. So the United States Census is going on, and you've had a lot of opportunities to broadcast that already. I know. Just wanted to make sure that people know that now they're in what they call the final phase. They're doing door-to-door. They started out last week. So if residents receive a knock on the door, they have specific ID from the census that you can check. You can also go on the website and make sure that it's the identical one. So want to make sure that people are understanding they have COVID-19 protocols. So they're there to ask questions. They'll be masked. They won't be interrupting you too much. And this is really so critical to get our numbers up. The village has done a great job, always ahead of the curve relative to the national level or even the state level. But the more people that we get recognized through that process, the better it is for the village.
For all of us,
in
because
the future.
I believe the last census, they had us a population of about 16,000, if that even, and we're well into 18,000, so it's important that everyone fills out that census.
That's correct, because they do it every 10 years, and then they have updates, but if you go back to our census numbers, you're right, we're at 16,000 something, where we know we're in the 18,000.
Yeah. Very
So
good.
that was number one. The other one I wanted to mention, there are a couple of positions on the Golden Rain Foundation Board of Directors. There's a position also on the United Laguna Woods. These positions are open and applications can be taken out. And if you're interested in being on a board there, the United position is to fill a position on VMS, which is our board. And so this VMS board vacancy is through United. And in that case, and also with the GRF position, you can just contact Cheryl Silva, who is the corporate secretary, and her number is 949-268-2383. So 268-2383. She can get the application for you. There is a deadline coming up, so you need to get that back into us, but she can answer any questions if you have an interest in being on the VMS board through United or on the GRF board.
Yeah, and those elections usually happen in October, so those applications need to come in pretty soon?
In the case of the VMS board for United, that is a year-plus term. For the GRF board, it is a very short time frame, but that position would then be open in November. So it's kind of filling a gap. And the reason they're doing that is because of the way the state law tells you have to have elections within a certain amount of time frame. We would have thought that it would have been possible to continue it and wait but because of the laws are set up, they had to move forward with the election now, and then they'll refill that same seat come November.
Gotcha. Because I do recall in the past, they would just say, oh, it's only a 3-month term, so we might as well wait until the election actually happens. But now we have protocol to follow.
No, it is. It's 100 days is basically the rule. So if you're out further than 100 days, you need to have the election. If you're less than that, then you can wait until a normal election comes up.
Absolutely. Anything else you have for us?
No, those
for
are the
today?
main things.
Okay.
We're continuing to, we had all our budget meetings with all of the boards last week, and those were their televised meetings. And now they'll be bringing those resolutions from those actions up to the boards in September.
Right. Now, this is a long month, so this week we really don't have any board meetings, but a week from tomorrow will be the first Golden Ring Foundation meeting for September.
Right. So
It's
we're
already September.
We're ready to go.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us on the program today. We appreciate that. That's Jeff Parker. He's your Chief Executive Officer for VMS, and we appreciate him showing up and being a part of our program on Mondays and Fridays to give us a report on COVID and obviously what's going on in Laguna Woods. We'll be back right after this.